That in the tens of thousands of emails on the unsecured server, several contain classified information. Donald Trump has used the email issue on many occasions to raise doubts about her character. Madam Secretary, did you hear the Republican convention chanting, "Lock her up"?
Well, I didn't hear it because I wasn't watching, but I certainly heard about it, yes.
Did you feel threatened by that?
No, I felt sad. I felt very sad, Scott. I mean, I don't know what their convention was about other than criticizing me. I seem to be the only unifying theme that they had. There was no positive agenda. It was a very dark, divisive campaign, and the people who were speaking were painting a picture of our country that I did not recognize. You know, negative, scapegoating, fear, bigotry, smears. I was saddened by it.
He calls you Crooked Hillary. What do you call him?
I don't call him anything, and I'm not going to engage in that kind of insult fest that he seems to thrive on. So whatever he says about me, he's perfectly free to use up his own airtime and his own space to do. I'm going to talk about what he's done, how he has hurt people in business, time after time after time. His vicious language against immigrants, his insulting a distinguished federal judge of Mexican heritage, his mocking a person with a disability, his really inflammatory language about Muslims, about American Muslims, about Muslims all over the world, his demeaning comments about women. I'm going to respond to what he has said that I think is so fundamentally at odds with who we are as a nation, where we need to be heading in the future, and the kind of dangerous, risky leadership that he's promising.
I don't want to. She's done a good job of letting the water go off her back on this. That's not the way I feel. When I see this Crooked Hillary, or I see the lock her up, it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The Republican FBI director makes a decision that there's nothing here that is warrants any additional activity, but
criminal prosecution.
Yeah, but so what they're going to say? Okay, well, we don't believe him now. We saw all these folks trying to rehash the tragic deaths of Americans in Libya, which we should all feel for those families. They're trying to politicize it.
What's your responsibility for Benghazi? Did you make any mistakes around that?
Well, Scott, there have been, I think, now 9 separate investigations, and they did not find any such culpability. I took responsibility. I was Secretary of State, and I thought that was appropriate. And what I was determined to do is to find answers as to what actually happened, not what people claim, and what we could do to try to prevent that. That was in the tradition of what has happened in the past. We had horrible losses in Beirut when Ronald Reagan was president. And one of my favorite former predecessors, George Shultz, was Secretary of State. We had a Democratic Congress. They didn't politicize it. So when this happened in Benghazi, I immediately stood up an independent committee, distinguished Americans, military and civilian experts. They came out and they said, the ball was dropped in security, and some of the decisions that were made probably should have been rethought.
But wasn't that your ball to carry?
No, it wasn't. It was not my ball to carry. It was read the reports, read all of the reports, all many hundreds of pages of them, including this latest one, which was a political exercise from the very beginning. Those never reached me. Those never came to my attention.
The concerns about the security never came to your attention.
No,
didn't reach you.
The experts. We have security experts. I am not going to substitute my judgment for people who have been in the field, who understand what our men and women are up against. So this has all been investigated over and over again. But as Tim was just saying, it didn't get the result that some of the Republicans wanted, so they kept at it. And I feel very sorry that they have politicized it unlike any prior example. And I just think the most important challenge we face is learning from it and doing everything we can to keep our people safe.
I've got about 3 more questions that shouldn't take too long.